So, on this episode of Unfinished, I am welcoming Maria Emmerich. I first met Maria online, searching for ways to help my daughter Kitty manage type 1 diabetes through food. Maria, who is a globally renowned nutritionist, author, and radiant source of kindness, welcomed me in without ever meeting in person, and she's been part of our story ever since. Maria, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Claire. You have such a wonderful story, and I'm very grateful to be a little blip in it.
More than a little blip, but let's get into this. Let's
Okay.
start with that old chestnut it's becoming. What's something no one would ever guess about how you grew up? And, we want the
Um,
kind of juicy detail that doesn't make it into your fancy bios or your dinner party stories.
oh my gosh. Well, I did just jump out of my deer stand this morning, and I don't think a lot of people know that I don't gun hunt, but I hunt with a bow and arrow. And that's something that I grew up doing. My dad owned his own plumbing and heating business, and so if I wanted to spend time with him, I had to take on his hobbies. And so it's
Yeah.
something that I grew up love doing, and it's still one of my favorite pastimes.
What is it that you get from it, apart from the original connection with your father? But what has made it remain one of your favorite pastimes?
Um, I feed my family
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
in a way that's the most natural way. I mean, we call it dressing the deer, but we dress the deer entirely by ourselves. We even, I mean, I don't want to gross anybody out, but I this morning I fed the heart to my dog. So
Beautiful. Yes.
it's we use everything, and it's some people think it's very cruel, but I find it to be like we honor that animal.
Mm.
It it helps us to live. I don't think there's anything cruel about it. Um I don't take it for granted whatsoever. It's very important to me.
Sounds like living in integrity with your values and your way of doing things, which I know you to do across
Thank
many
you.
spheres. Let's think then about that growing up period. What's the best advice you were given as you were growing up, whether from family or teachers or any kind of background noise in society?
Um, I don't know if there's like an actual quote, but I was taught to be okay with being different, because I am very different. I'm
Mm,
not like most women or men. I'm very unique, and I'm okay with that. And I think
mm,
that it was all kind of written in the stars, because my children are like the only black kids in this area,
mhm.
and they eat very differently than their friends,
Yeah,
and they're very okay with it. They don't even think twice about it, because I was always I try to ingrain in them that being different is fun. It's what's going to bring you a joy in life and this great world at your fingertips. Because if you're the same, that's going to be a boring life.
absolutely. I couldn't agree more, says the woman living on her own in Kenya doing weird things. So yes, wholeheartedly agree.
Love it. Mhm.
If there was one, what was the worst piece of advice that you got as you were forming your mind and your ways?
The worst advice was probably all the like the nutrition lies that I was told.
Mm,
Um, I grew up heavy, and there was a lot of misinformation spewed from doctors, friends, adults that didn't work for me. And I think it's really terrible advice, actually. And I get a little, um, not upset, but a little like fired up when I hear all of this misinformation, even today.
which
And
continues
it
today. Absolutely.
does. And I will quickly, I mean, whether I'm in the doctor's office or whatever, I will quickly teach them the right ways.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, oh yes. And of course, that's how we got to know you initially, and are very much on board with your way of thinking too. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for having seen so early that speaking up against received wisdom was a good thing. So let's get into how you chose your career and how you've developed it. There are many iterations, as far as I remember, but what was really on your mind when you first set out?
Well, I went to my family doctor and she told me I had something called PCOS. And I was twice my size at that time. And I also had acid reflux really bad. I had depression. And I had something called IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. And that doctor gave me three prescriptions, and I didn't want to take them.
Mm,
But and being told you couldn't have your own children is very shocking as a 16-year-old.
mm,
And looking into what causes PCOS, because there wasn't the internet back then, but it's excess caffeine, sugar, and carbohydrates. And at the time, I worked at a coffee shop where before I'd go to high school, I did. Before I'd go to
I know.
high school, I would make the scones and the muffins and the cinnamon rolls. And then I'd go to high school. And then after school, I'd go back to this coffee shop and we would close about 5:30. And whatever didn't sell that day, I got to go home with. So you think I'm kidding, but I knew like Fridays, Saturdays, we'd sell a lot of cinnamon rolls, the things that I really liked. And so I would make extra just to make sure I would have them for dinner.
Maria, that you've never told me.
Yeah. And I really had to look into what I was feeding my body. And I didn't want to eat chicken breast and broccoli. If
Mm,
somebody would have told me you could only eat meat, I wouldn't even have tried. But I started creating my favorite things like cinnamon rolls into these exotic, low carb, high protein foods that I just kind of kept for a secret for a while. I'm guessing you made the chocolate hard-boiled egg pudding once or
yeah,
twice.
yeah.
Okay. So that was like those recipes I kept for a secret because I was like, nobody's going to want to make these. These are too weird,
Too weird.
right?
Yeah,
And then finally, once I just kind of opened up, like I told you earlier, it's okay to be different. Hey, take it or leave it. This is my recipe. And
yeah.
people love it, right?
Mm,
So it worked out for the best for me. And I went to school for nutrition and exercise physiology, but I was going to be a stay-at-home mom. We started adopting children, and my husband lost his job.
mm,
And I had a dear friend tell me, Maria, you're going to start a blog. And I was like, what's a blog? You know, and you're going to put all your recipes into a book and the community will buy it to raise money for your adoption. And it really was just for
mm,
my little Wisconsin community for them to buy. And before you know it, my husband's like, oh, I can put a little barcode on it. We could sell it on Amazon.
yeah.
It's like, okay. And now, like, before you know it, Halle Berry has my books and Al Roker's making my recipes on TV. And I just couldn't believe how it blossomed from just wanting to feel better and not getting the answers that I needed
Mm,
and it becoming this. And I think my children still love hearing that story, even as teenagers, because I tell it a lot about
yeah.
how hard we ended up losing our house. The bank took our house, we sold our cars. I literally had to ride my bicycle to the library to write my first book because we had no money.
Mm,
And we wanted those children so bad. It was just like the eyes were on the prize. And I'm really grateful for those hardships because if things come easy, it's not a big deal. That's why I love bow hunting. It is hard.
yeah.
It is hard work. And having such hard work into creating this, I
Mm.
appreciate it. And I still live very simply because I know how happy I was living on nothing, you know? I was okay.
It's a great passage to go through, I think. I've been there too in early divorce years with four children and very little.
Wow.
It's so structurally informative, I think, and emotionally informative.
Mhm.
And boy, what a serendipitous life and career you've had, right? Very intentional with your values, but as to how they played out, quite extraordinary. And
Well,
definitely not part of a bigger plan that was in your head, at least at the time.
no, that's what you said. What was the best piece of advice? It's not really a piece of advice, but it's something that really stuck in my head. If you want to hear God laugh, tell him what you have planned. Because that was so true. I was such a planner. My family's going to be like this. We're going to have kids in this many years. We're going to
Yeah,
mom. And boy, God gave me so much more.
didn't he just?
But during
What
the
is it that,
hardship,
sorry, go
I
on.
didn't.
The hardship.
During the har-
Yeah.
during the hardships, I didn't feel that way. I was pretty upset.
No, yes. Most of us don't go through with total equanimity, do we?
No.
What is it that you love most about what you're doing now? And what keeps you loving it even when it's hard?
Meeting people like you.
Oh, that's beautiful. Tell me a little bit more about what you get, not out of me, but all the other amazing encounters that you create.
I was I was in such a low point when I was not well and heavy and all of these sicknesses I was going through, and I swear nobody was telling me what to do or and to find the right answers and to like feel so much better.
Mm,
I love meeting those people that were in such a spot and became to blossom into a beautiful flower. And they talk about how they enjoy the food and I don't watch TV because I don't have time. I, I give up a lot of things in life. I haven't gone out to dinner with friends in years. Like that's just not something I have time for, or I don't have a lot of friends because I've made work my life. And I don't want to cry,
no.
but it's people like you that make it all worth it.
Oh, don't make me cry. I put mascara on before we came on screen.
But it's true. It's
But
true. Like
thank you. Yeah.
I've put like my parents, my mom especially is a super social person, and she doesn't understand why I wouldn't want to go out with friends and stuff. I was like, but
Mm,
this is what I made my life, and it's okay.
yeah. And maybe that is indeed your way of connecting with the world. Maybe
Mhm.
classic friendships aren't for you, but deep bonds created through values really are.
Mhm. They
Thank
mean
you.
more. Oh,
Yeah.
it's my pleasure.
How do you handle the parts of life or work that aren't so much fun? The boring bits, the stressful bits, the thankless bits. How do you meet them?
Um, I really do enjoy most of it. Um, the stuff I don't enjoy is when someone's very critical of me, and it's not constructive criticism. Because here's the thing, I can handle constructive criticism. I remember when I wrote my first published book with my publisher, people would say, "Ooh, recipes are great, but they're way too hard."
Oh,
And I didn't have children at the time, and
yeah.
then I had kids. So my next book, I was like, "Whoa, I totally get what people were saying.
Yes.
I have two babies I have to take care of and try to make dinner at the same time." And so that type of constructive criticism was very helpful to me. But if someone's just going to be rude and mean and cruel, and then I go into a shell. So I mean, it's probably not a good thing to tell everybody, but I go into a shell and
Mm,
it's hard.
mm, yeah.
So I don't handle it well.
Okay. But you know it. And you
I know
recognize
it.
it.
I
Yeah.
recognize it. I do have some guards in place, if you want to say, where I have someone like on Instagram. I don't need to read those messages, those personal messages, until they're actually someone reaching out for help or something. Then I'm there.
Yeah.
But I have someone kind of filter the mean ones that they can just go away.
Yeah.
So that has
Yeah.
been very helpful.
Fantastic. When you think about the way you show up and lead in life, what aspects of or weaknesses do you still wrestle with?
Oh, I'm super impatient. I'm
Join the club.
I'm,
Are we
I'm
done?
I know, I know. I'm enjoying this, but I am probably the most impatient person you've ever met. But it's also, I was also able to write 3 books in a year because I don't wait for anything. I
Mm,
mean, when I have my mind set on something, it gets done, and nothing can get in my way. But again, that's when all my friendships and everything was kind of pushed aside.
mm,
I also think that people are also not afraid to be my friend, but they don't want me to go to dinner and they order pasta and I'm going to judge them, which I'm not going to. But I don't drink. I don't, I eat certain way. I don't eat the French fries. And I think people are afraid of being judged for
mm,
them having it. And it's like, I could care less. You do you. I'm going to do me.
yeah.
But I also think that's why a lot of people have left me aside.
Mm. Yeah, you set high standards, and perhaps people fear that you'll apply them universally. Whereas there's only ever one person that we can apply standards to, right? Everybody else chooses whether we like it or not. And we know that as mothers of teenagers and older children, right? I mean, we may impart
Parents,
values, but nevertheless, the application,
yeah.
that's them.
Yeah, my parents, my siblings, they don't eat this way, and we still have family gatherings and holidays, and
Yeah.
nobody has a problem.
Mm. When you think through the trajectory that you've been on in life, in work, in all you do, what would you say was a moment when the game really changed for you? Even if no one else saw it, it might have been an internal feeling. It could have been a big lightning strike from outside. But what was that moment where things finally clicked?
Um, I don't know if they still no, they clicked, but I remember the boys were we just adopted the boys. They were still babies, and my husband looked at me and he said, "I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad. I'm not going to get another job." It's like, "What? What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're making it. You're making it for the family. I can take care of the kids." And I was like, "No, you can't do that. I can't be responsible for that." And I remember being very nervous about having that on my shoulders.
Mm,
And it was kind of a role I never thought I would be in. Um, but he's like, "It's totally fine. You're gonna make it." And it was him that made me realize that we're gonna do it. And I just kept on the path, and um, I would blog for free, and people just kept coming. There wasn't a lot of alternative recipes out there for low carb, whether it be for type 1 diabetics, type 2 diabetics.
mm,
There was people doing, what was it called? It was not an, there was a diet that everybody was on. I think they injected themselves with something. I forgot what it was called, but a lot of people want to do this, or people with gastric bypass or whatever. It was kind of a lot of answer for people that I didn't even realize were interested in this.
yeah, yeah. What a beautiful way to have grown organically in what you do and the impact that you've had and continue to have.
I'm
Let's
pretty, oh,
go on.
sorry. I never once paid for advertising, and
That's
I'm pretty proud of
extraordinary.
it. It was just word of mouth.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you.
Let's flip to the dark side for a moment. What's a moment where you've let your own standards slip or you've failed in some way that you still cringe about a little bit?
Um,
Or are you, in fact, perfect, Maria?
no. Oh my gosh. No, no, no. I do get frustrated that I'm not patient sometimes when in situations where I'm not in control and I'm just super impatient. I wish I could just like realize that that's out of my control. I gotta just relax. Especially
Mm,
like with travel. We were just on a really long trip, and with travel, you are not in control. It's everybody else is in control. And I planned on being all zen, and there was some times where I was like, "Oh, I just want to go home."
yeah.
Um, but I also like I'm guessing maybe you know my journey. This February, I got pretty sick.
Mm,
Um, I don't have a lot of excess body fat. And so I got the flu, and this nausea kept lingering, and I just never wanted to eat. And so 3 months went by, and I was really, really low in weight. And I ended up in the emergency room 3 times.
mm,
Um, I was woke up in the ICU, and that made me feel like a failure because I want to be the epitome of health. And not having a little excess, people don't realize that having a little buffer, some fat, is a protective mechanism.
yeah.
And I didn't want to get down that low in weight, but I did.
Mm,
And even though I knew I didn't look very good, I looked too skinny, I would get a high off that low number.
mm,
And it was so twisted And I was like, whoo, look how low I got because I was told I would never be skinny. I was told I was big boned. I remember that in home ec class. She's like, oh, you'll never be skinny. You're big boned. And I was like, okay. And so to see that low number, I was like, dude,
Yeah.
whoa. So
Come to the nose.
it's a mind game for sure.
Mm.
And I didn't realize I did a podcast with someone who's a bodybuilder who actually won the world's fittest man. He was down to 3.5% body fat. But
Oof.
he's like, it's hard. You can't live at that. It's so, but seeing yourself get puffier and softer,
Mm.
it's such a mind game.
It is. I mean, you're speaking to the mom of two ballet dancers and an actress, so I know very well, at least from them, what it's like to play with mirrors and numbers and games that others play around you. It's tough.
Did they talk to you about it?
Oh, well, we could do a whole series of podcasts on that topic. Girls, mothers, weight, dance, criticism of the artistic audience in general, it's a minefield. We do talk. We didn't
That's
at
good.
times. It was more crucial when they didn't want to and when they
Yeah.
were busy not eating and doing that stuff. But we're all through it. And there's been therapy and the dialogue's much freer these days, that's for sure.
That's
Um,
good.
but yeah, it's a whole other topic, but it's big, as you know,
Yeah,
big
I mean,
about
we
being
should do
small.
it. We should do a podcast on that because it's something that, I mean, I don't really talk about myself. I'm always talking about
Mm,
other people. And
mm.
so like that's kind of it's hard, you know.
It is hard. My oldest, who was and still is, but she doesn't dance in companies anymore, an incredibly successful globally ballet dancer, was constantly being hired or cast because she was tall, blonde, bigger than average in height, not in terms of weight, and because she had tremendous career, stage charisma and presence. And then the artistic directors would constantly tell her to lose more weight because she was too visible. I mean, go figure that one. They hire her because they want visibility, then they tell her to shrink. That is a big mind F, you know what, CK. And that did her in the end.
Mhm.
And she's way happier now that she's out of the company world and able to manage her own career. She still does huge projects with globally known stars. Weighing probably 8 or 9 or 10 kilos more than she used to. So, you know,
Good.
it's a big mess. But that whole idea, and of course, it shows up in business as well. If you just move away from the idea of weight, women with charisma, women with verve, tenacity, courage, big characters get hired because of what they bring and then get constantly told to shut up. You know, the the act of trying to force women to shrink is heinous and very, very widespread. So yes, we probably should come back to this
Yeah,
topic literally and figuratively in another venue. Let's do that, Maria. Let's pencil
I
that
will. I'm
for
on
another
it
day.
for sure. Yeah.
For sure. So I'm thinking, my next question is about what you're working on at the moment. And I know that one of the things you're working on is getting healthy again, um,
Mhm.
regaining some of that strength and buffer. But what about the inner stuff? What else might you have on your agenda in terms of your own inner personal growth?
Um, honestly, I, teenagers are hard,
Oh, yeah.
and I was always so close to them.
When they were cute little puppy baby boys. Yes.
I know. You're just so cute. Little puppies, you're saying? Get more puppies?
Well, no, I think
Um,
yeah, I mean, I always think of young boys as puppies.
oh,
They're simple, right? They adore you when they're cross, then they bash something, and then they're done, and then they come back, and
yeah.
then
And
it
we would
gets a
go,
bit more complicated as they grow up.
yeah, I would take them fishing every single day.
Mm,
And I'm going through that stage where, mom's not cool anymore and just miss them.
yeah,
So just trying to keep them close, while still letting them become their own
yeah.
person.
Mm.
Um, but also know that I'm here for them. So yeah,
That is
That's
a
what I'm.
constant battle. And even actually when they're grown up and gone, there's a very beautiful battle that continues to keep close but let them breathe. And I guess it never stops, actually. Um, but yeah, it's tough. What might you still be scared to work on? Something that still feels a stretch and might be in, somewhere off stage right that you're not really quite tackling yet.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to tackle the weight thing, but it will probably be a struggle all the time.
Mm, mm. What do your family, the people closest to you, wish that you'd work on?
That.
That. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. You'll get there.
So,
You're getting there.
yeah. Yeah.
Knowing it is half the battle. That's for sure.
True.
Let's
Yeah.
step
Sorry to
away
have
from the deep reflection on the inner work and think about your favorite way to begin a meaningful conversation, some kind of move or way of being that actually opens people up.
um, well, I did it to you. I told you I like your glasses, but I do. I find something that I adore on a person, and I let
Mm,
them know that because I think as women, we'll see something that we like on a woman or something, but we don't tell them.
mm,
And when I hear that, it just automatically makes my heart soften. You
yeah.
know, if someone says, "Oh, I love your hair," and it's like, "Oh, I thank you,"
You do have the
or
most amazing hair. You must hear
well,
that a lot.
but again, we don't often say that to someone we see, even a stranger. So anybody I see, a stranger, if I like their bracelet or whatever, I'll be like, "Oh, that's really cute," and they're like, "Oh,
Mm,
thank you." It just they automatically are
yeah.
happier, nicer. Nobody's like, "What?" Nobody's mean
Yes,
about it.
it's very difficult to offend with a compliment, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Not everybody's good at taking them and embracing the compliment, though, which of course is then about them, not about you.
Right.
But that's a whole other game, being willing and gracious enough to internalize the compliment that's been given to you instead of
Yeah.
brushing it off. Oh, this old thing, or
Oh,
whatever.
right. Yeah. I've definitely have heard the brushing off, but I think in all, it makes them maybe a little softened towards me.
Yes, very definitely. Definitely. Now, I'm going to ask you about books, and of course, you've written a few. But beyond your own works, is there a book that you particularly return to because you admire it, you live by it, and you actually use it?
There's two and they're very, very different.
Hmm.
One is called A Walk in the Woods, and it's by Bill Bryson. It has nothing to do with
Yes.
it's nothing to do with nutrition, but I was a rock climbing guide and I would hike. Actually, when I first met Craig, my husband, um, I was only 17, and
Mm.
that summer, the next summer that we met, we hiked the Colorado Trail.
Wow.
And so this book is about hiking the Appalachian Trail with his
Yes.
old roommate Katz and just the shenanigans that happen. It's so funny. And I can read that every spring, usually when it's time to start hiking again. So I love that one. It's just laugh out loud type of a book.
Mm.
And then My Life in France, which is Julia Child. Because Julia Child wasn't even Julia Child until she was 50.
Amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
And we have a lot of like when I hear about her and read about her, I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so me. That is so me.
Mm.
And she's just very, I think she's a lovely human. She was.
Beautiful. Absolutely. And resolutely herself, authentic,
Mhm.
didn't give a damn about what people thought. She was one of my mum's big heroines as well, I think. So beyond Julia and beyond Bill, who most inspires you, living or dead? And what is it that you see in them that you want more of in yourself?
Julie was my
Mm.
answer.
Okay, that's fine. Tell me more about Julia.
Just how she never let, and I try to do this all the time, never let a recipe get you down. Like always be like, okay, so what can we do with this? Like if
Mm.
say a cake falls to pieces, okay, we're not going to throw it away. We're going to cube it up and make a trifle out of it.
Yeah.
Or I've made, I remember my son and I were doing a video for YouTube making some sort of meatloaf. And I look over, the meatloaf is in the oven, and I was like, Kai, we forgot to put the eggs in. So, something where you think that, oh, it's not going to turn out. We ate it on fit camera. We're like, it's okay, it's fine. You know, he's like, it just tastes like a hamburger now. So, just, I loved how she was so resilient,
Mm,
um, and also very compassionate about, um, I don't think we are meant to judge any people in the world. And I feel like that goes on a lot.
mm,
And she was also very compassionate about, homosexuality or different things. And I just feel like I'm not here to judge. That's not my job.
mm,
And I feel that everybody has the right to have a beautiful life and not be put down. And that's what I love about traveling. Like I mentioned, we were in Rome and Egypt and South Africa, Botswana. And what I love about traveling is seeing all the different people and how they live, and we're really not that different.
mm,
And I also wonder, like, why was I given a lottery ticket to be born in a country of freedom and with a wonderful family? And I was never worried about my next meal, where I saw a lot of poverty, I saw a lot of
oh, yeah.
hunger.
Mm,
And I just, it just makes me feel blessed.
thank you. That's quite a tour from Julia, but yes, that gives us a
But
picture of who you are and what's
I
so
think she loved to travel too. And I
you
think that
did.
she
Yeah.
saw the same, you know,
Mm,
that people are so judgmental about different cultures and different religions. It's like we're all the same. We're all just trying to
yeah.
make our family and feed our family. And I don't know, we're not that different.
We definitely aren't. We definitely aren't. I mean, if that were to be the case, then, we wouldn't be having this conversation today either. Let's get practical. What does your morning look like? What's your routine? Is it spontaneous? Is it systematic? And let's be real, you've got teenage boys. So what does it look like on a good day and a not so good day?
I remember going through a stage, I think I was in my 20s, where I'm like, I don't do a routine. I am so like sporadic. I don't, but no, I'm such a routine person. It's ridiculous. So I wake up and I do the same thing. I even eat the same thing. So um, I used to run every morning. I didn't miss a day of running for 22 years. Even like rain, snow, sleet, I would go
Mm,
no matter what. I didn't run inside. I would always outside.
yeah.
But I don't do that anymore, but I do lift weights every morning. So I do usually upper body one day, lower body the next day. I try to get in the sauna as much as possible. Sometimes it's only for 15 minutes. The sauna is hard for me. I don't like to be hot. I like to
Mm,
be. Um, I also do red light in the morning. So this is all before anybody wakes up, even my husband. Nobody's up. My dog's not up. Um, And then I'll usually have breakfast, which is usually steak and scallops. So it's
tasty scallops. Wow. Whoa.
steak and scallops. I love it. And then work of some sort. And this is all before anybody's up. I'm usually up at 4 to get
Wow.
all this done. But again, I don't watch TV at night.
Yeah.
I prefer this. I love it.
Mm,
It's something
mm,
that I enjoy. If I do want to watch something, it's when I'm lifting weights or just like listening to
yeah.
something, lifting weights.
Yeah.
So that's my morning. Then the kids get up and we homeschool, but homeschool is much different than what we used to do. A lot of it's online. Being teenagers, I don't know Spanish that well, so they have a Spanish teacher online.
Yeah.
Same with physics and all that. So most of it is online, but we usually will play games in the afternoon and stuff.
Mm, beautiful. That's sounds idyllic, but of course it's not always. Um, you're obviously highly disciplined, highly routined, but amongst that, if ever you have a guilty pleasure, what is it? And why is it that you not don't feel so guilty about it in the end?
My guilty pleasure is I was asked to do these like keto retreats about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I was messaged on Facebook like, "Ciao, Maria, you should do retreats in Italy." I was like, "What?" I could never afford to travel. And I was like, "Craig, some lady asked me to do a retreat in Italy." He said, "Give her your phone number, see what happens." I remember exactly when she called me.
Mm,
And she's this beautiful Italian woman who lives in the States now, and we have done retreats every year since, and except for COVID. And it is my guilty pleasure. I don't do really any work. I just relax. People come. It's not a judgmental trip. Again, if you want to have pasta or gelato in Italy, I don't care.
yeah.
I'm going to have this, which I don't feel left out with what Italians are great at meat. Like they're
No,
great at
so
cheese.
good. So good. Yes.
Meat and cheese is wonderful.
Yeah.
So we do these adventures every day. We might go tour the Vatican or whatever. And I don't, as much as like I told you, I love my children. I love my husband. It's just me and
Yeah.
it's how I make friends. It is my new friends that travel with me.
Yeah.
And so much so that I rented a cabin next to me and I had everybody come visit. I said, you don't have
Oh,
to do a retreat.
amazing.
It's on me. I paid for it. You just need to get your way here and I'll cook for you. And
Wow.
it was just a wonderful time to relax. So travel with friends is my guilty pleasure, but I do not feel guilty about it because I come back so rejuvenated.
Mm. I would invite you to reframe your perception on whether you have friends. I think you do. They're just not maybe the ones who are living at the end of your street or
Yeah.
whatever, and maybe they are too. But it sounds to me as though you've created a very rich community of all kinds of connections that are dear to you and who hold you dear, which is definitely my case
Thank,
too.
thank you.
If you were to be honest about what's not comfortable to talk about here, what might it be? You don't have to go there, but what sort of dark, unexplored areas might there still be in your life?
I think weight was always going to be there. I mean, I hate to go back to that, but
Mm,
it's hard, you know. It's I think that will be a hard thing to always talk about.
mm. And that's the part of you that's really still unfinished, isn't it? And it maybe never will be. I mean, the whole point of this podcast is that we're all unfinished. We're all not done. And the more enlightened of us, if I may sound pretentious for a moment, are the ones who are at least conscious of not being finished, right? We're working on it, we're improving, but being in motion is the important part. And maybe the destination is never quite in front of us, but we're there.
Mhm.
And you're a beautiful example of being unfinished, but constantly in motion. Maria, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure um, talking with you, getting these insights, getting the unusual views. I'm very grateful that you joined me.
I'm very grateful you asked me.